Buttercup bakes a beautiful bundt cake from Baker Betty's Better Baking Book. Hello dears, Buttercup the Baking Spaniel here, and I'm excited to jump into the new year with a delicious new recipe. Over the holidays, I received a very neat cookbook that I would like to share with you all. It is called Baker Betty's Better Baking Book. Wow, I love that! But awesome alliteration isn't the only thing this book has going for it. This isn't your traditional collection of recipe style cookbook, but instead it's almost closer to a textbook or training manual. It covers numerous baking techniques and methods, and each recipe included is what is called a master recipe that you can use as a starting point to customize and create your own unique versions. Today, I will be using the pound cake master recipe to create an orange bundt cake topped with a chocolate ganache glaze. Gracious, does that sound amazing? I can't wait to try it out. Let's go! Before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about measuring ingredients. There are two ways that you can measure ingredients, and that is by volume or by weight. While many parts of the world typically use weight for measuring ingredients, it is quite common in the US to use volume-based measurements. Unfortunately, this method can often be inaccurate and lead to more measuring mistakes. Baker Betty's book strongly encourages the use of weight-based measurements, and I very much agree. I have been wanting to move more towards weight measurements in my recipes, and this was the push I needed. Going forward, I will be sharing my recipes with ingredients listed in grams. Now, if you do not own a kitchen scale or prefer to measure by volume, I will still list in the cup measurements for my recipes in the description. Another nice thing about measuring ingredients by weight is that it's much easier to scale a recipe up or down. In this case, the pound cake master recipe I started with was for a loaf pan. However, I wanted to use this lovely new bundt pan that my mother gifted to me. This bundt pan has a 9-cup capacity, so I have scaled the recipe by 1.5 times the original amounts, which I think should work out pretty well. Let's start by sifting 322 grams of cake flour into a bowl. Well, it's going everywhere, but that's okay. Kind of a tradition here. Add in 1/4 teaspoon of salt and whisk to combine. We can set this aside for now. Into our stand mixer, we will add 339 grams of softened butter, and 450 grams of granulated sugar. Cream these together on medium speed using the paddle attachment until the mixture becomes light in color and fluffy. Add in 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Next, we will add in 6 large eggs. Add these in one at a time, mixing in between each one until it is fully incorporated before adding the next egg. We are creating an emulsion here, and adding liquids in too quickly can cause that emulsion to break, which is not what we want. In a separate bowl, measure out 90 grams of sour cream. Add in 5 tablespoons of orange juice and 3 tablespoons of orange zest. Stir these all together. Now we will alternate adding our flour mixture in 3 additions and sour cream mixture in 2 additions to the stand mixer, starting and ending with the flour mixture. Mix just until fully incorporated between each addition. And that's our completed cake batter. I have prepared my bundt pan by spraying it thoroughly with baking spray. Let's pour the cake batter into the pan. Make sure to get it nice and even around all the sides here. Oh, the smell's delicious. That looks just about the right amount there. This will need to bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 175 degrees Celsius, for 55 to 65 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out with just a few moist crumbs attached. Allow to cool in the pan for 15 to 20 minutes before inverting onto a wire rack to cool completely. Oh my goodness, look at that! It came out so perfectly! While our cake is cooling, let's make a decadent chocolate ganache glaze to go over top. Measure out 113 grams of bittersweet chocolate chips in a large bowl and set this aside. In a saucepan, add 118 grams of heavy cream. Heat this over medium heat just until simmering. Carefully pour the cream over the chocolate and allow to sit without stirring for 5 minutes. Add a pinch of salt, then slowly begin whisking the mixture together, starting in small circles and slowly moving outward until the mixture is very smooth. While our ganache is still warm, let's carefully drizzle it over our bundt cake. Let's see how much of a mess I can make. Oh dear. Oh, it's coming out fast. It's like a chocolate glazed donut. Gosh, doesn't that look lovely? It's time for the best part, the taste test. All right, here you go, my dear.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
I am surprised at how much the orange comes through because the orange is a little bit more of a subtle flavor.
I was just going to say that. You can really taste the orange in here. It's so delightful, refreshing, and it pairs really nicely with that chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of tastes, I mean, it tastes like what you get when you have a chocolate orange. You get a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of orange. It does remind me of like a chocolate frosted donut in like the best way though. Like a chocolate frosted cake donut.
Yes, most definitely. I do love how the edges of the bundt cake gets nice and crispy with a soft middle. It's so wonderful. I do think that the cake could have gone in for a little longer actually. It's the slightest bit doughy in the center here. But that's the problem with those bundt cakes. They will start to look so dark because they darken a lot on the edges. So you may be tempted to pull them out earlier than you should be. And that, I think, is what happened here. Oh, I really do love it. It's so delightful. Absolutely a delicious recipe. Goodness, that was such a fun and delightfully simple recipe, wasn't it? I absolutely recommend checking out Baker Betty's Better Baking Book. It is chock full of amazing recipe ideas from cookies, cakes, pies, bread, and more. I'll share a link to where you can find the book in the description below. Thank you all so much for joining me. Until next time, mwah! Dun, 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 dun. Wow, it's perfect.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Oh.
Aww. Look at that.
Look at that.